We are doing the presentation of Module 7030 International Leadership. Our group members are Abhijith Karamvalappil Mohan, Abhijith Jain, Vinayak Sadish, and Nirmal Malikaparambil Gobi. In this presentation, I will compare two famous leaders, Justin Trudeau from Canada and Fumio Kishida from Japan. I am using leadership theories to explain their leadership style and how they fit in their countries. For Trudeau, I look transformational and servant leadership. For Kishida, I use path goal theory and of state cultural dimension. Canada is known for transparency and Japan avoid uncertainty. This fact explains why both leaders behave the way they do. My aim to uh, is not just to describe their action, but also how to show how their leadership connect with their culture and country needs. I want to explore how their theory helps explain real life leadership. This comparison will give a better understanding of international leadership and how different styles work in different places. Overall, we hope this analysis shows how leaders can be effective when they understand the people culture and use the right style at the right time. And moving to next slide, leadership context of Justin Trudeau. Now I will talk about Justin Trudeau's leadership background. He became Prime Minister of Canada in 2015, leads the Liberal Party. Trudeau's support values like inclusion, gender equality, and diversity. He made strong decisions like introducing carbon tax, supporting multiculturalism, and helping indigenous community. One of his major action was expecting over 60,000 Syrian refugees by 2020. He showed strong emotional connection with the people uh, and often to use symbolic act to express his value intentionally. He is praised for being progressive and people-centered, but at home, some people criticize for him for not following through promises. I I think true leadership is the full of good intention and emotional appeal. He tries to connect with the people through feelings and empathy, but some people expect more actions and result. This shows the balance of leaders must be keep between emotional connection and real world decision. Is context tells how values shape his leadership decision. And moving next slide, transformation and leadership. Trudeau. Trudeau is good example of transformation leader. I understand this by looking to Bass theory, which includes vision, charisma, and emotional appeal. Trudeau uses inspirational words action to bring people together. He promotes ideally like unity, climate action, and using inclusive language. For example, he once said, Canada is strong not in spite of our difference, but because of them. This shows the how motivate people with the emotional message. He won majority in 2050 because he believed in his vision, but over time some people felt he didn't keep all his promises. His popularity dropped 9% by 2023. Critics says he sometimes focused too much on symbolic thing and not in to on real action. I believe that transformational leadership works best when both vision and action are strong. To do styles shows how powerful inspiration can be, but also how people expect real result and along with the good words. And next slide will be done my friend Abhijith Jain, and I am handing over.
Hi, myself Abhijith Jain. My ID number is 15906483. I'm moving to the first slide. It's about servant leadership of Trudeau. Now I will explain Trudeau's servant leadership. This style is about serving others first. According to Greenleaf, a servant leader listens, cares, and helps people to grow. Trudeau often talks about empathy and fairness. He shows care for people by promoting gender equality, indigenous rights, and LGBTQ rights. In 2015, he made Canada's first gender balanced cabinet and simply said, because it's 2015. That shows how he values equality. He also connects with people through public meetings and social media. I think these things make him a good servant leader. He tries to lead by listening and understanding others. But this leadership style is not always strong in crisis. In conflicts or difficult times, people want clear, firm action. Sometimes Trudeau's style seems soft or idealistic. I think this shows that several leadership is great for building trust and inclusion, but it must also be combined with strategic thinking during hard times. And I'm moving to the next slide. Next slide is about profile of Fumio Kishida leadership contest. Now I want to talk about Fumio Kishida, Japan Prime Minister since 2021. He leads the Liberal Democratic Party and supports something called New Capitalism, which means he want to grow the economy but also help people fairly. He also Japan foreign minister. So he is a good at diplomacy and take talking with other leaders. Shida works slowly and carefully. He includes many voices when making decisions. This fits well with Japanese culture, which includes tradition, formality, and group decisions. Japan also scores high in uncertainty avoidance, which means people prefer safe, stable decisions. Kishida approval's rating was 58% in early 2022, which slowed people trusted him in the beginning. But his leadership works inside a complex and traditional system. He must be careful and respectful. I think his leadership style is thoughtful and fits Japanese values. It shows how leaders must adjust to the cultural and political system they work in. And then I am moving to the next slide. My next slide is about path goal theory of Kishida. Here I talk about Kishida and the path goal theory by House. This theory says a good leader changes their style based on the team and the situation. Kishida did well. During COVID-19 pandemic, he used a directive style, giving clear steps and rules. Later, he switched to supportive style to help the people feel safe and heard. His leadership also encourages innovations and through his new capitalism ideas, he changed his approach based on what the country needs. This that shows he is flexible and listens to people. This is a big strength, but there is also a weakness. Sometimes he asks too many people before deciding. It causes delays. People complain that he takes too long to act. In 2023, his approval dropped to 39% because people thought he was indecisive. I think Ishida shows how path goal theory can be useful, but also that leaders must be quick decisions when they need it. And then thank you. The next slide will be taken by my friend Nirmal.
Taking over from my group mate Abhijith Nyatuti Jayan, I myself Nirmal Malik Parmal Gobi with the student ID 157568899. In this slide, Hofstede's cultural dimension by Kishida. Now I will explain Kishida's leadership using Hofstede's cultural dimensions. Japan scores very high in uncertainty, avoidance, and has medium power distance. This means people want clear rules and respect for authority is really important. Ishida's leadership fits well in this culture. He focuses on harmony, respect, and making decisions slowly through discussion. He avoids public conflict and prefers polite, formal language. These things show Japanese cultural values. According to Hofstede's theory, national culture affects how leaders behave. Kishida's actions show this clearly. He works with the system and respect always. But there is also a problem. These cultural values can sometimes slow down change, and Kishida avoids sudden or risky actions, which can be a weakness during the emergencies. I think this slide helped me understand how important culture is in leadership. Leaders must work with their country's values, but they also need to find ways to move forward when quick action is needed. And the next slide, this slide, the comparative analysis. I compare both leaders and the theories used. Tudor's leadership fits with the transformational and servant leadership theories. These show his focus on values, emotion, and inclusion, but sometimes they don't give him enough strength to deal with political challenges. Ishida uses path goal theory and cultural dimensions. He is very adaptable and fits into Japanese culture well. But sometimes he takes too long to decide because he wants to listen to everyone. I think both leaders are good, but in different ways. One is emotional and open, and the other one is careful and cultural. This shows that leadership is not one size fits all. Theories help us understand the leaders, but we must not treat theories as fixed rules. I believe global leaders must use a mix of styles and adjust them based on their situation. This comparison helped me see how theory and culture work together in real leadership. And the next slide, next slide, critical evaluation of theories applied. In this slide, I want to look at the leadership theories more closely. I use transformational and servant leadership for Justin Trudeau. These theories match his emotional people first style, but I also see some problems. These models focus on inspiration and care, but they don't always help in tough political situations. Trudeau's action sometimes don't meet his big promises. For Fumio Kishida, I use path goal theory and post-days cultural dimension. These explain his careful, flexible, and cultural leadership. But again, there are limits. Path goal theory is useful, but it can slow decision making. Yesterday's model help us understand the culture, but it can oversimplify complex societies. I learned that theories are tools. They are helpful, but they don't give all the answers. Leaders are real people working in complex situations. I believe the best way to use leadership theories is with a critical mind, combining them with cultural understanding and real world thinking. And the next slide will be presented by my groupmate Vinayak Sadish.
Hi, myself Vinayak Sadish. My student ID number 1593413 I am moving on to the next slide. Implication for international leadership. From this analysis, I learned that global leaders must mix empathy with smart decisions. They must also understand different cultures. Trudeau is open and emotional, and Kishida is calm and values harmony. Both style works, but in different places. This tells me that international leaders need to be flexible and respectful for culture. I also see that being ethical and inclusive helps build trust across borders. Leadership is not just about power, it's about listening, adapting, and being responsible. In a global world, we face many value systems. A good leader learns how to lead in a way that fits different people and places. This is the biggest lesson for future leaders. We need skills that include emotional intelligence, cultural understanding, and ethical thinking. I believe that leadership is the future will be about balancing people's needs with smart planning and always being ready to change and grow. And the next slide is about recommendations. Now I want to give some suggestions. First, leaders should study different leadership styles so they can use the right one at the right time. Trudeau's emotional and exclusive style works well in open societies, but he needs to show more strength in action. Kishida is very respectful and careful, but he could be quicker in crisis. Second, cultural knowledge is very important. Leaders should learn about other cultures to work better with different people. Third, leaders should balance their values with strategy. Being nice is not enough. Decision must solve real problems. I recommended that future leaders stay flexible, ethical, and informed. They must communicate clearly, listen to people, and make smart choices. In short, leadership today is a complex. It requires heart and mind working together. I think these recommendations will help anyone who wants to lead well in different parts of the world. Then, moving on to the conclusion, to the end of the presentation, I want to repeat the key points. Justin Trudeau and Fumio Kishida are very different, but both are effective in their own ways. Trudeau uses transformational and servant leadership, focusing on emotional and inclusion. Kishida uses path goal theory and cultural understanding to lead in a formal and careful way. Theories help explain their actions, but they don't tell the full story. Culture, personality, and political situations all matters. I learned that leaders must adapt, stay ethical, and understand people deeply. Good leadership is not just about leading, it's about knowing when to listen, when to act, and how to work with different cultures. In a global world, being flexible and respectful is the key. This study helped me understand how theory and practice come together. I believe that future leaders can learn from both Trudeau and Kushida and from the leadership models we discussed. Thank you.